Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Matt Mitchell Show. I'm DJ Foster, joined by Grand Valley State head football coach Matt Mitchell. Mitch, obviously coming off a tough weekend, a 38-10 loss up at Northern Michigan. For the folks who don't know, obviously going in, it was tough not having Isaiah Grimes. So he was the backup to Heath Parling, who already is out for the season with an injury. So then you were down to Brandon Beitzel, making his first career start. And so certainly the game plan changed a little bit there. Obviously the offense was a little bit different than without Isaiah being in. And then later in that game, Brandon goes down. So then you're down to Jeff O'Brien, your fourth quarterback of the season. So kind of talk about just the challenges that presented themselves before, leading up to the game, and then certainly in the game as well.
Yeah, on Thursday in practice, Isaiah suffered an injury throughout the course of practice, a non-contact injury. And I think probably, him getting hurt, there's always a risky injury, but I think the timing of it was difficult, just from the standpoint of Brandon, got thrust into the role as a starter fairly late in the week.
Right.
And, has not, has played a little bit here, but has never been, quite at the point where he's been a starting quarterback. So, initially early on, we just struggled a little bit. I mean, it was kind of, anytime you got a guy out there for his first time, especially that position, there's going to be some nervous energy, and I think he was a little bit nervous heading into the thing. And so, as the game progressed, on the offensive side of the ball, we didn't do a good enough job just again managing the game at times, and all of us, as coaches and players together, and obviously Brandon is going to be on the front end of some of that because he is the quarterback position, but we didn't weren't able to consistently run the ball as well as we needed to. There were some really bright spots. I think Kirk Spencer did a good job, but I know certainly disappointed in the fact that we only scored 10 points, and and then obviously in the second half, due to Brandon getting hit and just the circumstances around things, we throw Jeff O'Brien in, who we really we're playing on probably redshirting this year, and he got thrown into a situation. I thought Jeff handled himself very well. So difficult set of circumstances for our guys on offense, both players and coaches, just the timing of the injury, the nature of the injury, where we're at a little bit with the depth of that position. And then, given those circumstances, we didn't really pick them up on the defensive side of the ball like we needed to. We knew it was going to be a struggle when you start getting to those types of depth issues we're having, and we just didn't play well enough on defense to kind of, quote-unquote, pick those guys up or rescue our offense when they need a little bit of help. So very humbling loss, very disappointing loss, just a very a difficult day all around. A sense of we didn't get the job done for our team, everybody from coaches and players together.
All things being what they were, at halftime it was still 17-10, and it took a nearly 60-yard field goal to make it a touchdown game at the half. So your defense got some stops in the first half and kept it close. Like I said, 17-10 at halftime. Talk about what you kind of were thinking going into the half, and then what happened in the second half.
Yeah, we gave up a touchdown on the opening drive, and then we gave up a big play, another touchdown. After that, we kind of set a little bit of defense, created some turnovers, and also we're getting some stops. And just weren't able to, again, convert and kind of get that. I felt like if we could get to the point where we could get a lead and, kind of run the ball and help Brandon a little bit back there with the run game, we could, but we never really got to that point. Still, as you mentioned, down 17-10, we go back out, really need to get a stop, and we got a stop, and just couldn't quite get over the hump. I think probably the biggest series of things, we did a great job executing a punt to pin them down inside the 5. Our defense steps up and gets a 3-and-out. I felt at that time that we needed something to happen, a spark, so I called for a block, and we went in there and may have ran into the punter, and I gave him a first down instead of getting the ball with some decent field position, a chance gave him the ball, and then just had a couple breakdowns on the defensive side of the ball, and they drove down and ended up scoring. So had a chance to get off the field. We were off the field and tried to make a play on a block punt. So if I look back on the second half, it's probably a big swing of things. It was that fourth down where we went for the punt block and didn't get it, and ended up getting the penalty and gave him some new life moving forward. So once it got to a 2-score game, it became difficult because of the circumstances of our offense, and then we intentionally started pressing quite a bit on defense, just trying to make something happen.
Sure.
Trying to blitz in there, try to create a fumble, get some tackles for loss, things like that. But then, as I said in my press conference, when you start living in those types of defenses where you're getting very aggressive and those type of things, if one guy breaks down, there's really no levels to your defense, and something pops as touchdown. That's what ended up happening, and that's the reason it got to 38-10 there in the fourth quarters, because we were trying to make something happen, trying to get a little bit of energy and trying to make something happen for our football team, and it did not.
You said one of the bright spots obviously was Kirk Spencer, 133 yards in the first half. He finished the game with 145 yards. Obviously, once the game got to a 2-3 score game, you had to turn to the air and kind of take the ball out of Kirk's hands. So tough situation there. But talk about kind of the bright spot he's been in the past few weeks.
Yeah, I think given again the circumstances with Chris Robinson going down and Mike Rattay's out, and similar situation went up the Upper Peninsula before when we had to put some pressure on Kirk Spencer to play Michigan Tech. He had to be the man again. He handled it a lot better than he did 2 weeks ago. So we saw some progression in him as a player. We didn't use him as much in the second half, partially because of scoring. In the second, he suffered an injury also and was out of commission. And so that was good. It was good to see him come on and as a freshman keep picking up where he left off and making progress. I mean, this is kind of the time of year where players either get better or you get worse. There's really no in between. We're seeing some of the guys like Kirk Spencer, some of these young guys, they're getting better. And so that was a bright spot. I think another bright spot I should have mentioned before too is our punter Chris Picano. Really has done a nice job for us here. And when we're, early in the year, we're scoring a ton of points and not punting much. Well, we're in a situation now the past couple of weeks, and we do some injuries and things that are happening where we got to try to set up our field position, our defense. He's doing a great job. I mean, with a lot of different types of kicks too. Some stuff pinning him down inside the 5, some deep kicks. We rugbyed him, doing a lot of different things. He's handling a lot of those things well, and he's helping our team right now.
I know injuries aren't an excuse, and I don't think I've heard you use them as an excuse yet, but certainly they're mounting. And how difficult is that just to kind of game plan every week? Like you said, Isaiah's injury happened on Thursday, and you're not planning, to have Beitzel in on Saturday at that point. So just kind of talk about, how you've been able to try and deal with these. I mean, this is something that there's not a manual to deal with. Right. How do you deal with this?
Well, I mean, it's a challenge. It's a challenge for our coaching staff. I think it's a challenge for our players too. It's certainly, when Isaiah went down and Brandon went in there, and there was times where Brandon struggled. I think everybody watched the game or looked at statistics know that he struggled at times. That it would be easy for the team to have a sense of frustration because of the circumstances, and some of it is out of their control. But I think the guys, if there's a bright lining to a not a very good loss, was that we kept battling and kept fighting and kept trying to hang in there. So it's challenging for our coaching staff in that. We are now, especially with Isaiah being out here for the short term, we're going to have to do a good job of making plans that if he's not the starting quarterback, what is the identity of our offense going to be? Mm-hmm. And it's going to be different. And so there's a lot of work that has to be done for there. So I think, there are variables that you can control internally and externally, and there's variables that you can't control. Certainly when it comes to injuries, I think there are some controls. But when you look at the injuries to the two quarterbacks, both non-contact injuries that occurred, that we're trying to protect the guys and do some things. And so we can't control that. So there's no use spending a ton of time worrying about it or up on it late at night. Those are variables we can't control. The things we can control is playing better on defense, structuring our offense to fit our players that we currently have. And so those are the things as a staff we've been trying to focus on, are the things that we can't control. And we obviously, there's some areas we have to get better at, and we have to get better at in a hurry here this week.
Looking at Northwood coming in this week, they're 4-3, 3-3 in the GLIC. They started off 4-0. They've had three tough games the past few weeks, all within 10 points against Wayne State, Saginaw, and Michigan Tech. As we were talking before, normally they run the wood bone, and that's kind of their identity. But as you said before, it's a little bit different this year. Kind of talk about their offense and what challenges they present.
Well, I think the personnel is a challenge. Aaron Shavers is a good player. He didn't play against us last year. Played like one series and then went out. So. Very dynamic runner with his legs, and so they've changed things up. It's not a traditional option attack. They're doing more designed running back runs, designed quarterback runs, and they're throwing the ball more. They have more wide receivers out there throwing the ball around. So he presents a challenge because he's a very good athlete. He can move around and can run. So again, he did not play late in the fourth quarter of the Michigan Tech game. Not sure why. So we are making plans that we are going to have him. He's a good player. And again, they've got a host of running backs. I'm not sure about the availability of Cameron Jackson. He didn't play last week, so we're preparing him. Is he going to play or not going to play? But he's a big physical runner, very downhill type kid, which we struggle with. And overall, as a team, they've been real close. They lost to Wayne State by 10, Saginaw by 8, and just lost to Michigan Tech by 7. They're big on Michigan Tech and could close the game out. So they've been in there with some tough teams. I mean, they're not too far away from being undefeated. A lot of seniors on defense, a lot of experience on defense. They got 8 seniors on defense, and statistically, they're very good against the run. And so, given our set of circumstances on both sides of the ball, this is a huge challenge. I mean, they run the ball, and we struggle running the ball, stopping the run. And now with the injuries that were suffered at the quarterback position, you would think we're going to have to rely a little bit more on a running game. They're very good at defending the run. So it's going to be a big challenge for a football team given just all the circumstances involved, and we've got to bow our necks and step up and get the job done.
Anything change in terms of what the key is? I know you say always winning the turnover game and running the ball and defending the run, but I mean, with injuries mounting and with Northwood's offense coming in, is there any key that you would look at that would be different this week?
I don't think any different. Our defense got to play better. I mean, with coaches and players, we got to get the job done. I mean, we got to get the job done for our team now. I mean, early on in the season, we were putting up points and scoring, and our offense was, making up for some of our deficiencies on defense. Well, that's over. I mean, we're not going to be as prolific as we were on offense, given the situation that we're at back there. So our defense got bow his neck. We got to man up. We got to play better. So get a couple guys off injury. Hopefully provide a spark. We got to, if we have to make some changes personnel-wise, we're looking at all that right now. But we got to get the job done for this program, this team right now on the defensive side of the ball, and that's going to be obviously a message I was given yesterday, and just keep getting hammered throughout the course of the week.
Northwood at Grand Valley State this Saturday for the homecoming game at Lover Stadium at 7 o'clock. Mitch, thanks for your time today and best of luck.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for watching the Matt Mitchell Show here on the Grand Valley Sports Network.